My name is Sarah Grace Livingston, and I'm 19 years old. I live in a small, quiet town in North Carolina, nestled between stretches of green fields and winding roads that lead nowhere in particular. My life has always been simple, ordinary even. I'm not the kind of girl who goes viral on social media or makes headlines for something extraordinary. I'm just a girl who grew up going to church every Sunday, helping my mom in the kitchen and running track after school. Our town isn't the sort of place where much happens. The local diner, with its checkered floors and endless supply of sweet tea, is the hub of activity. People sit there for hours, talking about the weather or the latest high school football game. It's the kind of place where everyone knows your name and everyone's business, too. My mom, Janice, works double shifts at that very diner, and she's the heart of our little family. Ever since my dad passed away when I was 7, she's carried the weight of everything, working late, making sure there's dinner on the table, and still finding time to pray with me before bed. She's the strongest person I know, but even strong people get tired. I see it in the way she rubs her temples after a long shift or smiles just a little less brightly some days. Then there's my older brother, Michael. He's 24 and everything I wish I could be: confident, driven, and always knowing exactly what to say to make me feel better. He's been my rock for as long as I can remember. When life feels heavy, he's the one who reminds me to pray, tells me to keep running, both literally and figuratively, and assures me that things will get better, even when they feel impossible. Our house isn't much, just a small white clapboard home with a porch that creaks when you step on it. But it's ours, and it's filled with memories, Christmas mornings, laughter echoing through the walls, and the smell of Mom's peach cobbler baking in the oven. Life here is simple, but it's also heavy in ways I can't always explain. Church has always been a constant in our lives. Every Sunday, we sit in the same pews at Faith Baptist Chapel, a small, unassuming building with creaky wooden benches and hymnals that feel as old as time. It's not one of those fancy places with big screens and coffee bars. It's just a handful of people trying their best to follow Jesus. Lately, though, even church feels different. The congregation is smaller than it used to be, and the air feels heavy, like people are just going through the motions. I've always believed in Jesus with my whole heart, but I can't lie, it's hard sometimes. The world outside feels chaotic, broken in ways I don't know how to fix. People chase money, fame, and everything shiny that promises happiness, but never delivers. Meanwhile, I sit on my bed with my Bible open, wondering if anyone else cares about the things that really matter. That's the thing about living in a small town, you have a lot of time to think. Sometimes too much. I wonder about the world beyond our quiet streets, the things people are chasing, and what it all really means. It was on New Year's Eve, just a few weeks ago, that everything changed. I was lying on the couch, texting Michael about how crazy the world had been lately. Wars, wildfires, people losing their way. I told him it felt like something big was about to happen, like the world was holding its breath, waiting. I didn't know then just how right I was. By the way, if you're enjoying this story, don't forget to join our community by subscribing to the channel and hitting the like button. It's a small way to help spread messages of hope and inspiration to more people. And hey, if you'd like a special shout out in our next video, leave your name and city in the comments below. I'd love to send you a personalized message. It's our way of saying thank you for being part of this journey. Who knows? Your name could be featured for thousands to see. And don't miss the end of this video, where we'll reveal which viewers are receiving our special message today. Let's make this community even stronger together. It was New Year's Eve, and the air carried that strange mix of anticipation and finality that only comes at the end of a year. Our little town was quiet, as it always was during the holidays. Most of my neighbors were probably in their living rooms, watching the ball drop on TV, or setting out plates of snacks for small gatherings. For me, the evening was nothing out of the ordinary. I was lying on our worn-out couch, scrolling through my phone. The living room was dimly lit by the soft glow of the Christmas lights still hanging on the mantel, their colors reflecting off the glass ornaments that we hadn't yet packed away. Mom had gone to bed early, exhausted from another double shift at the diner, and the house felt unusually still. Michael and I had been texting back and forth all evening. Our conversations always felt like a lifeline, a tether to something steady in a world that often felt like it was spinning out of control. That night, we talked about everything: the news, the wildfires out west, the endless arguments about politics, and how it all seemed to be building towards something bigger. "I don't know," I typed, my fingers hovering over the screen. "It just feels like something's about to happen, like the world is holding its breath." His reply came almost instantly. "Maybe it is. Maybe we're all just waiting for God to make the next move." I stared at those words for a long time, feeling a strange unease settle in my chest. There was something about the way he said it, so simple, yet so heavy, that made me wonder if he was right. Maybe the chaos wasn't random. Maybe it was all part of something bigger, something we couldn't yet understand. As I set my phone down on the coffee table, the room seemed to shift. The air grew thick, almost electric, like the moment before a thunderstorm. My heart began to race, and for a fleeting second, I thought I was imagining things. But then it happened. The world stopped. I mean that literally. Time didn't just slow down. It froze completely. The faint hum of the refrigerator, the soft rustle of the curtains in the night breeze, even the blinking lights on the mantel, all of it stopped. The silence was deafening, and I could feel my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. At first, I thought I was dreaming. I sat up, gripping the edge of the couch, my breathing shallow and quick. But this wasn't like any dream I'd ever had. Everything around me felt sharp, vivid, like I was seeing the world for the first time. And then came the light. It started as a faint glow, barely noticeable against the stillness. But it grew brighter, filling the room with a warmth that was both comforting and overwhelming. It wasn't just light, it was alive. I could feel it wrapping around me, not in a physical sense, but in a way that touched something deep inside me, something I didn't even know existed. Before I could make sense of what was happening, the light began to pull me, not with force, but with an invitation I couldn't refuse. One moment, I was sitting on the couch, and the next, I was somewhere else entirely. I found myself standing in the middle of a vast, open space. It was like nothing I'd ever seen before, an expanse of white, endless and pure, yet not empty. It felt alive, humming with an energy I couldn't comprehend. And then in the distance, I saw it. A flicker of orange against the white, faint at first, but growing stronger with each passing second. Fire. But this wasn't ordinary fire. It moved with purpose, almost as if it had a mind of its own. It didn't destroy, it revealed. As it burned, the flames unveiled truths hidden beneath the surface, truths I wasn't sure I was ready to face. I wanted to turn away, to run back to the safety of my quiet living room. But I couldn't. The fire was pulling me in, not with fear, but with a strange sense of urgency, like it was showing me something I needed to see, something that would change everything. The Capitol stood before me, bathed in fire. Its dome, a symbol of resilience and democracy, was barely recognizable, consumed by flames that danced with an unnatural intensity. This wasn't an ordinary fire. It moved with purpose, as if it were alive, peeling back the pristine marble and ornate carvings to reveal something hidden beneath, a darkness that had been festering out of sight. The flames illuminated the entire structure, casting eerie shadows that seemed to twist and writhe with the fire's movement. The scene was both mesmerizing and horrifying. This wasn't destruction for the sake of chaos, it was revelation. Every flicker of flame seemed to expose another hidden truth, another layer of corruption and decay. I stepped closer, my feet moving as if drawn by some unseen force. The heat should have been unbearable, but it wasn't. Instead, it wrapped around me, not burning my skin but touching something deeper, my soul. Inside the Capitol, through the towering flames, I could see people. They were arguing, shouting, their faces twisted with anger and fear. These weren't strangers. They were the faces I'd seen countless times on television, the ones who made speeches and promises, who debated and fought for power. But here, they weren't leaders. They were just people, terrified and lost. They didn't run. They didn't try to escape. Instead, they pointed fingers at each other, laying blame as though that could save them. The The fire didn't discriminate. It moved steadily, stripping away their polished appearances and grand titles, leaving only the raw, unvarnished truth. As I watched, logos began to emerge from the walls, glowing brightly before the flames consumed them. They were symbols of corporations everyone knew, companies that had promised to make life better, easier, happier. Their representatives stood among the politicians, shaking hands and smiling, as though they were closing a deal. The fire surged, devouring everything in its path. But it wasn't chaos, it was precision. With every lick of flame, it exposed something else. The alliances, the deceit, the greed. The walls melted away, revealing chains, thick, unyielding chains that connected the people inside to something larger, something far darker. I felt my chest tighten as the truth unfolded before me. The chains weren't just physical, they were symbolic, forged by years of lies, compromises, and betrayals. Each link was a choice, made by the politicians, the corporations, and even the people who had trusted them. And then I felt it, a presence behind me, steady and unshakable. I didn't need to turn around to know who it was. Jesus. He stood there silently, his presence filling the space around me. He didn't speak, but I could feel his sorrow, an overwhelming grief that weighed heavily on the air. It wasn't anger. It wasn't disappointment. It was love. A deep, aching love for every person in that building and beyond. The fire continued its relentless work, revealing the truth not just about the Capitol, but about us all. It wasn't just the leaders and the corporations who were chained. It was everyone. Every choice we made to trust power, wealth, or convenience over faith and truth. The flames didn't destroy for the sake of destruction. They revealed for the sake of redemption. I turned back to the Capitol, watching as the fire consumed the last vestiges of its grandeur, leaving behind only what was real. It was painful to see, but I understood. This wasn't just about judgment, it was about mercy. A chance to see the truth and to choose a different path. But as I stood there, I knew this was only the beginning. The flames at the Capitol weren't just fire. They were truth incarnate, stripping away every falsehood and pretense until only the bare reality remained. As I stood there, I could feel the weight of the moment pressing against me, as though I was being made to witness something I could never forget. The fire moved like it was alive, coiling and twisting, revealing things that had long been hidden. Through the inferno, I saw visions of lives, decisions, and moments, each one connected to the larger web of deceit and greed that had entangled the world. It was as though the fire was saying, "Look, see what has been done. Understand why this is happening." Inside the Capitol, the people were still there, but they were no longer just faces of power and authority. The flames showed them for what they truly were, broken, afraid, and chained. I could see the links that bound them, not made of metal but of choices. Every lie told, every compromise made, every selfish decision. The chains stretched out like vines, connecting each of them to something larger, something that felt almost alive in its darkness. The fire didn't just stop at the Capitol, though. It began to stretch outward, like fingers crawling across the city. I could see it touching buildings, homes, even people's hearts. It didn't destroy, it revealed. It was relentless, showing the truth of who we are and what we've become. And as I stood there, feeling overwhelmed by everything I was witnessing, I felt him again. Jesus was there, not in the fire, but in the stillness behind me. His presence was so strong, so undeniable, that it made the flames seem almost small in comparison. I didn't need to turn around. I could feel his sorrow, his love, his deep yearning for the people who were lost in the chains of their own making. The fire didn't stop. It moved on, reaching into places I couldn't even see. But its message was clear. This was more than judgment. It was an invitation, a call to wake up, to see the truth, and to choose a different path. I stood there, tears streaming down my face as the fire continued its work. And though I didn't fully understand it then, I knew that what I was witnessing wasn't just for me. It was for everyone. Before we continue, let me take a moment to invite you to be part of something special. If this story has touched you, Leave a like and let us know where you're watching from in the comments below. Share your name and city, and in our next video, we'll send a personal shout out just for you. At the end of this video, we'll also reveal the names of the viewers who are receiving today's special messages. It's our way of building this amazing community together, because your voice, your presence, truly matters. As the fire moved through the capital, I felt a strange pull, not away from the destruction, but towards something deeper. The flames no longer frightened me. Instead, they seemed to be calling me, whispering truths I had spent my life too distracted to hear. I stood motionless, watching as the dome, once a symbol of power and unity, crumbled into ash. Yet, instead of despair, there was clarity. The fire wasn't meant to destroy for the sake of chaos. It was breaking things apart to make way for something new, something real. The chains I had seen earlier, the ones binding the people inside, remained vivid in my mind. Each link was a choice, a compromise, or a moment of willful ignorance. But the fire wasn't just exposing their chains, it was showing me mine as well. I felt the weight of it. Every time I had chosen comfort over conviction, silence over truth, or distraction over faith. Then, through the flames, I saw something that made my breath catch. It wasn't just the capital anymore. The fire was spreading outward, and with it, the truth. Neighborhoods appeared, their tidy homes and manicured lawns looking so ordinary at first glance. But as the flames touched them, walls melted away, revealing what was hidden inside. Families sat together in their living rooms, their faces bathed in the glow of television screens and phones. They were laughing, scrolling, consuming, but they didn't notice the fire creeping closer. They didn't see the chains that wrapped around them, thick and unyielding, forged from every false promise and empty distraction they'd ever embraced. The chains weren't just personal. They stretched out, connecting each house, each person, to the capital itself. It was all part of the same web, the same system designed to keep people blind and compliant. And as the fire burned, I saw the truth for the first time. We weren't just victims of the system. We were its builders, its enablers. Behind me, I felt his presence again. Jesus. This time, I turned around. There he stood, a figure of unshakable peace amidst the chaos. His eyes, filled with both sorrow and love, met mine. He didn't need to speak, his gaze said it all. I felt exposed, like every part of me was laid bare before him. Every doubt, every failure, every time I had chosen the world over him. But instead of judgment, I felt his compassion. It was overwhelming, a love so pure and so deep that it brought me to my knees. In that moment, I understood. This wasn't just about exposing the truth. It was about redemption. The fire was a call to wake up, to break free from the chains that had bound us for so long. And Jesus was offering a way out, a way to rebuild, not with lies and greed, but with love, faith, and truth. As I knelt there, tears streaming down my face, I felt something shift inside me. This wasn't just a vision to witness, it was a mission to carry. I was being shown this for a reason, and I couldn't ignore it. The fire had revealed the problem, but Jesus was showing me the solution. And that solution wasn't just for me. It was for everyone. The world didn't need more power or wealth or empty promises. It needed truth. It needed love. It needed him. The fire continued its relentless journey, its tendrils of flame moving outward like fingers stretching across the land. It wasn't just burning buildings or consuming facades. It was reaching into lives, exposing hidden truths and unseen chains. Everywhere it went, the fire illuminated things people had ignored for far too long. Standing amidst the chaos, I felt the weight of what was happening press against me like a heavy, invisible force. The fire wasn't stopping. It had started at the Capitol, tearing down symbols of power and pride, but now it was spreading to neighborhoods, homes, and hearts. The message was unmistakable. No one was exempt. I watched as the fire revealed the chains again. Thick, heavy links forged from years of compromise, greed, and misplaced trust. They wrapped tightly around people's lives, binding them to things they didn't even realize were holding them captive. The chains weren't visible to the people themselves, and yet they were there, as real as the flames that now crawled closer. The flames didn't discriminate. They moved through every corner of society, touching the powerful and the ordinary alike. Families sat together in their living rooms, faces lit by the glow of screens as they laughed at sitcoms or scrolled endlessly on their phones. They seemed oblivious to the fire, too absorbed in their distractions to notice the chains tightening around them. And yet, the fire wasn't consuming them. It wasn't there to destroy them. Instead, it peeled back the layers of distraction and deceit, revealing the truth beneath. I could see the moments where chains had been formed, decisions to chase convenience over conviction, to trust in fleeting comforts rather than eternal truths. The scenes played out before me like a tapestry unraveling, each thread connected to a greater story. I felt small in the face of it all, just one person standing amidst a sea of revelations. And yet I also felt a pull, an undeniable sense that I was being shown this for a reason. Then I felt him again. Jesus stood nearby, his presence as steady and unshakable as before. He didn't speak, but his gaze met mine, and in that moment, I understood more than words could ever convey. The fire wasn't just exposing the world's brokenness, it was offering a way out. I turned back to the flames, watching as they continued their work. They reached into places I couldn't follow, uncovering more truths, breaking more chains. The weight of what I was seeing pressed down on me, but alongside it was something else: hope. The fire wasn't just judgment. It was mercy. It was showing us what we had become, yes, but it was also giving us a choice. A chance to turn back, to break free from the chains that had bound us for so long. As I stood there, the realization hit me with full force. This wasn't just a vision to witness. It was a mission to carry. I had been shown this for a reason. Jesus' gaze didn't falter, and I felt his love radiating toward me, not just for me, but for everyone. For the families sitting in their homes, unaware of the fire creeping closer. For the leaders and the powerful, whose chains were just as heavy as anyone else's. For the entire world, caught in a web of its own making. I felt my knees buckle under the weight of it all, and I sank to the ground. Tears streamed down my face as the enormity of what I was witnessing settled in my heart. But even in my brokenness, there was a strange peace. The fire wasn't asking for perfection. It wasn't demanding that we be without fault. It was calling us to wake up, to see the truth, and to choose something better. I didn't know how to begin, but I knew I couldn't stay silent. This wasn't just a message for me, it was for everyone. Before we continue, let me take a moment to invite you into our growing community. We don't make any money doing this. It's something we pour our hearts into because we believe in sharing these stories and their messages. If you found value here, please consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. It's a small gesture that makes a big difference, helping us reach more people and keep this work alive. Join us in building a community of faith, hope, and truth. Your support truly means the world to us. The room was quiet again, but everything felt different. The vision lingered in my mind like a song you can't stop hearing, a melody that pulls at your heart and refuses to let go. I sat on the couch, trembling, trying to process everything I had seen. The fire, the chains, the truth. It had all felt so real, so undeniable. The capital consumed by flames, its secrets laid bare. The neighborhoods, their walls melted away to reveal the silent prisons people had built for themselves. And Jesus, his presence, steady and unshakable, his love and sorrow woven together in a way I had never thought possible. I closed my eyes, taking a deep breath, but the weight of the vision didn't lift. This wasn't something I could shake off or ignore. It wasn't a fleeting moment to reflect on and then forget. It was a call, a mission, pressed into the very fabric of my soul. I thought about the people I had seen in the vision, bound by chains they didn't even realize were there. Each link forged from choices, distractions, and misplaced trust. It was heartbreaking to see how easily we give away our freedom, trading it for things that promise happiness but deliver emptiness instead. And yet, amidst all the sorrow and revelation, there was hope. The fire wasn't there to destroy. It was there to purify, to strip away the lies and reveal what was real, what was eternal. Jesus hadn't come to condemn. He had come to save. And the fire, as relentless and consuming as it was, carried that same purpose. It was mercy, giving us one last chance to see the truth and turn back before it was too late. As I sat there, the enormity of it all pressed down on me. How could I, just an ordinary girl from a small town, carry something so big? The chains weren't just theirs, they were mine too. I had believed the lies. I had chased the distractions. I had let the world's noise drown out his voice. But then I remembered his eyes, the way they looked at me, not with judgment, but with love. A love that didn't depend on perfection, a love that offered redemption even when I didn't deserve it. Tears streamed down my face as I realized the truth. This wasn't about being perfect. It was about waking up, about breaking the chains, no matter how strong they seemed, and about choosing him again and again, no matter how many times I had failed before. The path ahead wasn't clear, but it was illuminated. The fire had shown me the way, and Jesus had given me the strength to follow it. I didn't know where it would lead, but I knew I couldn't stay silent. This wasn't just a story for me to carry, it was one to share. Before we finish, I have some special messages for a few of our incredible viewers. Abraham from the Philippines and Nathaniel from Norway, this is for you. Thank you for being part of this community. Your faith and presence are a blessing, not just to us, but to everyone who hears this message. May this story inspire and strengthen you, and may you always know how deeply loved you are. To everyone watching, the journey doesn't end here. Our next video is one you won't want to miss. It will be filled with revelations that could change your life. All you have to do is click on the video appearing on your screen now. Let's keep moving forward together, discovering the truth and building a stronger connection with our faith. And finally, if this message has touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video and comment amen below. We don't make any money from this. We do it because we believe in these stories and their power to inspire change. Your like and subscription are small acts of kindness that mean so much to us and help this community grow. Let's continue to share hope, truth, and love together. God bless you, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.